morning we woke up to fresh coffee with the eggs. 24-karat gold steak with the bread crumb. I mean, we've been eating for free all week and haven't seen a chef once.
Ended this round with Loopy to reference the drowsy feeling from the lean he been using at times, right? So tonight, if we gonna talk about the legend of Sleepy Hollow, it's gotta start with a horseman losing his mind.
Louisiana baby. Or I can hit him with tear gas, leave Louisiana baby. And I'ma do it all by my lonely like Louisiana baby. And where they gonna find the body? In Louisiana baby.
Hello. Welcome back to the Speaker and Language Show, and welcome to a new series called Making Board the Classic Count. I want to give a special shout out to Titus, Q, and J Smo for crafting the Classic Count idea a couple years back. I'm just doing it with a little bit of a twist. In the context of space, when you make board, that means that you were able to successfully make 4 books in a series. In the context of battle rap, I'm essentially saying that a battler has successfully been a part of 4 classic battles. We'll go through a series of battles with 3 tiers. At the bottom, you have Not Quite. These are battles that are good with a great deal of recognition, but it's lacking lasting power or consistent quality throughout. The second tier is Could Be. These are your possibles, battles that are on the precipice of being considered classic or could be considered classic with more time. I will also add that this may be a battle that is considered classic by certain people, but just isn't certified. This leads into the last tier, the certified classics. These are self-explanatory. So without further ado, I want to introduce the first contestant and first person of this series, and it's none other than Arsonal. At the Not Quite tier, I have 5 battles I want to mention: T-Top, DNA, JC, QB, and Hollow the Dime. Now, to start with the T-Top battle, I think that was an essential battle for the caffeine start. One of the biggest moments is when Arsonal pulled out his phone and showed you know what. And honestly, one of the biggest things of the battle is how T-Top responded to that situation. But nonetheless, it's a battle that's very memorable. Now, the other battle that I think of and I mentioned too was the DNA one. DNA, that is a really good battle. I just think it isn't really quite a classic. I mean, it is a really big battle for Don't Flop at the time. In 2013, it was one of the biggest battles of that year for sure. Arsonal came out with a legendary first round, legendary moment with the hacksaw Jim Duggan line that he had as well too, and it made for a good back and forth preceding the first round. I just think that it misses the mark in terms of the overall quality and whatnot for that. Now the JC battle, on the other hand, it's a good moment for Arsonal. He had like a crazy third round. He had a pretty dominant performance over JC, a JC that wasn't really losing that clearly at that time period too. But again, I just think it's a one-sided victory, and it's probably like a highlight reel moment for Arsonal, but just isn't really a classic battle. The QB battle on RBE, this was like a disrespect fest. Here, I just think that, they both went viral for saying very egregious, disrespectful things. And honestly, it was more of a plus for QB, if we're being honest. I think that, she got the better of Arsonal in that battle. And it kind of was like a marquee moment for her in that particular time period. So that's just another high quality battle that I just feel like gets a lot of recognition, but maybe isn't necessarily a classic either. And then the last one I wanted to mention was Hollow the Dime. Now, it could very well be in the tier right above it with the Could Be, because depending on who you ask, they may even say this is a classic battle. But I ultimately think that this battle is just summed up by one moment, and that's the Hulkamania leg drop. Not to say Arsonal didn't have a good performance, but I don't even know if, say if we did a poll, 75% would consider him versus Hollow a classic battle, if I'm being truthful. I think that people more often than not would say it will be a classic performance from Arsonal. So that's what I think about that particular tier. Now we're going to shift into the next tier. At the Could Be tier, I have a set of 5 I also want to mention here. We have New Jersey Twerk, Kitchen Clean, T-Rex, Geechee Gotti, and Pat Stain. Well, let's start with Kitchen Clean. Kitchen Clean, that battle was really good. Had a lot of great moments, from how Clean opened up his second, Arsonal's crazy first, how they both had a really good third at the end. I just feel like there's certain things missing in that battle that keeps it from being classic. I do like the editing. I mean, who doesn't like the editing when John Doe was doing it, right? I do like the tension that they had. I do like the conversation that they had too, the aggression. It was a really good battle. And depending on who you ask, I mean, they might even consider this a classic, but I kind of have it right below. I don't know what's missing particularly, but it doesn't really hit classic territory for me. T-Rex. Honestly, I was debating whether this could be a tier below because I feel like this battle is specifically driven by T-Rex first round. Arsonal had a pretty solid second. There was a little skirmish towards the end and in the third round, and it was just them on stage. But this is another battle where names and the altitude of what the battle was supposed to be was large, but the overall battle itself was just solid to good. Gichigati, this is an interesting one. As time progressed, this may be considered a classic battle by some people. Arsonal had one of the best volume performances. I think that, his second round was spectacular. His first round was really good. Gichigati had a really good third, really good second to kind of try to fight back. Honestly, I do think that if you give it 5 more years, this could be considered a classic battle. But as it stands right now, I do not have it in the classic, especially not as a certified classic. The next battle, right? Kind of similar to Gichigati in multiple aspects. You could talk about the upcomer going against the veteran. You could talk about Arsonal raising his level for the matchup. It's New Jersey Twerk. I think that him versus New Jersey Twerk for Summer Madness 8, and it's funny, we have Summer Madness 15 going back into London, but him versus New Jersey Twerk, Summer Madness 8, really good battle. Don't really think it's a classic though. Do think it's a really good back and forth. Preferential when it comes down to the winner as well too. Arsonal has a crazy second. Twerk has a really good opener. Twerk has a really good closer as well with his third too. Maybe give it a couple more years, people consider it a classic, but I personally have it a tier below. And then the last one, I think I mentioned Pat Stay. Really, really, really good battle. I don't know why I don't really consider it a classic battle. I mean, it was a really great style clash. There was also tension in the battle too. Pat Stay had one of my quotables, like the best shooters, the white guys. Arsonal was on his A game in that battle too. It depends on who you ask, but I have it a slight tier below the certified classics that I'm about to mention here shortly. Before we get into the certifieds, there's actually one more battle that I would put in the could be tier. I want to do his battle against B Magic in the Blue Room. Now, I will say there's a little bit of sentimental value here because I was there the moment that they had as a surprise battle. It was really good. It's another battle where like the quality is there, both of them are on their A game, and the surprise factor of it all makes everything amplified. But at this particular moment, I don't think it's a certified classic battle. I think you had 2 other certified classic battles on that card particularly, but did want to give a special shout out to Arsonal versus B Magic. That was a really great battle. Now we're into our certified classic segments. Now, Arsonal needs 4 to make board. The first classic, certified classic that I'm going to mention is none other than him versus Conceited. Battle of the Bay 5, 2009, instant classic, certified classic. I can't describe how important and impactful this battle was for both battlers and the battle rap culture as a whole. Conceited, legendary first round. Arsonal, way to fight back throughout the battle. A lot of people mark this as one of the biggest comebacks in battle rap history with him fighting back in the second and third. Not much to really say about it. If you haven't watched it as a battle rap fan, I don't know what you're doing. And as a new fan, this is one of those battles that you should put on for the sake of knowing your history. Next battle that I want to talk about. Still the top viewed English-speaking battle in the world. And that's none other than him versus Shadi Hora. Another classic battle. I think that this was when Arsonal was at his apex. If there was Cody at that time, I think he would have been the champion of the year for 2012. Just the work he was doing internationally against all types of competition, specifically the Shadi Hora battle, went viral for a multitude of reasons, and really delivered an amazing all-time battle against an all-time legend, an all-time international legend as well too. His first round, sensational. The opener with him wearing the jersey, the multi-syllabic pockets that he got into as well too. And he just did a multitude of things. And I think Shadi for sure held his own in the first battle, even though he did better in the second battle, in my opinion. He held up his end of the bargain to make the battle worthwhile. Classic battle. We're getting into Arsonal versus Hitman Holla. If not one of, at least top 5 in terms of the best grudge matches of all time. You don't get the superstar that you get out of Hitman Hollow without this battle. And I think in terms of what the battle did for Arsonal was it just showed how much he moved the needle as a battle rapper, specifically at that time period. A lot of intensity, right? A lot of tension, a lot of marquee moments. Now, some people will say that it's a lot from the Hitman side, but Arsonal delivered you some really good bars and really good moments as well too. Make him untwist every dread. That line was crazy. He gets a lot of flack for this Squidward's clarinet, but still memorable, still is recited to this day, and no one can say that Hitman versus Arsonal was not a classic battle. It's probably one of the most essential battles in URL's history, and there's no question about that. So I have Arsonal with 3 certified classics. He missed the mark. He just needed one more. Depending on what you guys consider in that second tier to be classic, he very well could have made board. But in my metrics, I just feel like he only has those 3. I can't wait to hear what you guys say and think in the comments. Let me know what you guys agree with or disagree with. Let me know what you guys think that could be considered classic or other battles that should be in consideration, and I'll be glad to have that conversation with you guys at some time. We're going to be doing another battler here, I want to say in a week or so. Trying to figure out who I'm going to do, but this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this, and this is my way of getting out quick content to you guys, because I know I'm kind of 2 to 4 weeks type of guy, but I do want to be more consistent. I'm adding more to the production and adding more things to kind of keep the content flowing. So thank you guys for watching. Please comment and subscribe, hit the like button, and I hope to see you guys soon. Peace.